April of 2011, we launched the first year. That was the first inaugural application for bike share here at the university. What we were able to do was learn a lot in that whole year process. And the fact that Bike Share 1 worked out, it was very positive. The feedback from the community that we made bikes available to the students was overwhelmingly good. It is a sustainable solution. Instead of having students jump on our buses, they were able to use bikes. So the feedback and the overall system was very positive. What we had learned in the past year was some important takeaways in order to make bike share easily and make it more easily accessible to students. And what we had learned through students was that the system that we established was a per semester system. Students asked us to actually reconsider that and make it a per use system, so students could actually access a bike on a per trip basis and get rid of that bike as opposed to using that bike the entire semester. Secondly, they want to make it easier to get to a bike. They didn't want to have to go see a bursar, pay a fee. They didn't want to have to then see a safety video in a facility building on the other side of campus. And some of that actually took a lot of effort on the part of the students in order to go to the bursar office first and then come to a facilities building second to see a training video. So we learned that we need to make bike share more easily accessible to the university. So in thinking about that, we took a long step back. We took those two takeaways. One, students don't want to pay the $15 to participate in the bike share program. They do not want to have to put forth significant effort to go to two administrative buildings to participate as well. And then we looked at how do we improve it? How do we make it easier for the students to get a hold of our share bikes? That's when we turned to municipalities, and we took a look at what other major universities as well as cities were doing on a larger scale than ours in order to take bike share and grow it. And that's when we took a look at other municipalities such as the city of Boston, a city of Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, the city of London in England, as well as Melbourne, Australia. What we were able to find out was they had a different approach about bike share. What they did was they instituted a program where it was a per use program, so a student could get access to a bike, transport themselves from one area of campus, and release that bike as soon as they get to the other section of campus. So they don't have to use that bike, and they wouldn't have to take ownership of that bike for the entire semester. They could only use it. They could use it for a span of an hour, 40 minutes, or half hour. Once that was done, we also saw that students wanted to access a bike easier or more easily. And how do we do that? And what we tried to do is incorporate the use of the SBU ID card. Students came back to us and said it would be easier if we just used a kiosk, if we approached a kiosk that basically allowed them to dip their ID card in and out of the kiosk and unlock a bike. It was that simple. And that's what exactly the municipalities in the cities have implemented. The ability for community members, if I lived in the city of Boston, I could then pay a fee to be part of a program that would give them a little key fob. The key fob would unlock a bike as soon as they approached the station. So it was that easiness in order to grab a bike. So that's what we really considered when graduating past our pilot phase program for bike share. Right now we're still technically in our pilot phase, and this summer we're going to graduate from our pilot phase into our real world phasing of bringing bike share to the university through this different method. Bike share is funded by the transportation fee at Stony Brook University. It is the exact similar model that is followed in other major universities at the SUNY level, specifically University of Buffalo, or at Buffalo I should say, where the transportation fee covers or funds biking on campus, including bike share. So what we were able to do is use the fee in terms of getting students a better experience when it comes to biking. So our goals are to have students use sustainable transportation and use the bike share network. And when we take a look at bus routes and transportation on campus, instead of the potential of having to put more buses on more routes at different time periods, we may be able to steer students to using bikes that may be available at certain locations. A good example of that is in our express bus route, where we have upwards of 5 or 6 buses on that route on Tuesdays and Thursdays. In given time, if you have an increase in enrollment or if you have a change in how students join or sign up for classes at the university, you may see that there might be even more students trying to get on a bus at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. So in order to capture that increase, there may be potential for them to, instead of waiting for a bus, they could actually hop on a bike that's available to them, covered under their transportation fee, and more convenient for them to travel to other parts of campus.
Okay. This means to. I just have to.